time you get all that done, you spend
Tremendous amount of time, but it's
Can you hear me now?
Microphones are on.
All right. I will call to order the July meeting of the Glendale Planning and Historic Preservation Commission. Good evening, everyone. Will we note for the record that we do have a quorum? Rebecca? I think there's just one, no, two of us are missing, but we do have a quorum. All right, well, we'll begin as always with the review and approval of the minutes of our June meeting. Members of the commission, you've had a chance to review those. What is your pleasure?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's move on to new business. The first item on our agenda is the resolution relative to the application of the property at 555 Albion Avenue for a conditional use permit to allow changes to the recreational facilities. This is something we heard last month, and this is just a resolution that's been drafted to formalize a recommendation to the council. That was a part of our agenda. Everybody had a chance to look at that?
Mm-hmm.
What is your pleasure?
This is just a formality?
It is.
Oh, well, I move approval.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's move on to our applications for appropriateness. The first application on our agenda is the request of Lynn and Rodney Kreider for 420 East Sharon, driveway and fencing. I believe your architect is here. Their architect is here.
Yep.
For the record, give your name and your company that you're affiliated with, and we'll let you take it from there.
Okay. Oh, Julie Phelan, Grove Architects. They are both at work still. So they want to add some fencing and driveway on their property. The fencing is for their dogs, so that should be, it's kind of a continuation of what they already have. The fencing is kind of like back with their, the detached garage structure now, so they're kind of just extending the dog enclosure area to the side yard. And then the driveway is, so now they have this circular drive that goes around their house. And they say the Amazon trucks like whip around the house and almost hit their dogs all the time. So that's partly why they want to put the dogs on one side of the house and keep all the on the right hand side of the house in a fenced in area, and then have their driveway on the left hand side of the house. And then they'll use that driveway on the left hand side to access their existing detached garage structure. And then because they are on Sharon Road, they would like to have a circular drive in the front. So this would allow the Amazon trucks to stay in the front yard and still be able to turn around and head back out onto Sharon Road facing forward. They believe this would be safer for not only the Amazon driver and everyone else on Sharon Road, but also for any visitors that they have, that they could use that to turn around and enter Sharon Road nose first instead of having to back out. Yes.
Plus, it looks like you're adding much more green space.
Yeah, because they're taking out
Eliminating
the
the
whole
old
drive that's
yeah,
on the
so-
right-hand side of the house. That would all be
More
removed.
pervious
Yes.
surface,
So it's
so
actually
that's
probably,
good.
yes, more good vegetation space. Yes.
Anything else?
Do you have any questions?
I believe we might. Members of the commission, questions for the
In the-
architect?
So on the right side of the house, it's a metal fence, and then going back, it's a chain link fence. Is
Yeah,
that
so
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, they're going to do metal on the front and then the new metal on the side, and then it will hit the existing chain link fence. So what they're
Okay, so the whole
adding-
side going up is the same?
Correct.
Oh, okay, it's very nice,
Yes.
it's nice metal too.
Yes,
So, okay.
yeah, they figured, because in the way back, you can't really see that from the street, and that's already there. The chain link's already there, black chain link.
Yes,
So then what they're adding is the side, and then they're actually gonna move the fence from along the driveway up to the house. So
Right.
anyway, they are aware that you can see that side of the fence from Sharon Road, so they're gonna continue the metal fence around the corner.
okay.
Okay, so could you just clarify where the existing chain link fence is?
The existing chain link fence is,
See at the very
see-
top?
Yeah, it's like behind to the dash, the detached garage is there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have that dash line is the metal fence that they're going to be relocating. And then, yeah, did you just put a red square around
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
That is
Okay,
where
that's
the chain link fence
interesting.
is. It's like the sides and the back. That's the chain link.
I see.
Yes, and then so what they're adding is the side, but they're actually going to make that be metal, and then to match the fence that they're going to be salvaging from
Mm-hmm.
the back's going up to the front.
Yeah, there's very little salvage, it's almost all new fence.
Yeah, the side is mostly the new fence, and
There-
it's
There is a note that says new black chain link fence. So that's, you see that in the center?
yeah, that could have
No,
been.
that and just below
Oh,
that too.
that could just be around their little parking area. That's
Yes.
in the back. That's just that little driveway. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that little parking area in the back. That would be for their kids when they leave their cars. So that's a little bit more driveway space, and then they want to be sure to separate the dogs from the cars. That's the point. So that would be just chain link.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is the property line actually reality? I mean, their driveway is currently on their neighbor's property.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's beyond it.
That driveway is, we're not, well, they want to repave it, but we're not expanding it in any way.
I mean, as long as they understand that if it ever comes to issue on an issue with the neighbor could take out their driveway and they'd have no driveway to the back.
Well, unless they have an easement or,
Which they
Oh,
may.
you're
Recorded
saying it's
easement or
on- You're
prescription.
right, it's on the,
Yeah.
over the property line.
Yeah,
Similar to the case
Yeah.
on Washington Avenue where
yeah,
the neighbor's
Uh-huh.
driveway's on theirs.
yeah. I mean, this is their issue. This is not for us.
Right.
So I have no, just as long as they understand that.
And you're not proposing any new work on that piece of the driveway.
Other than to repair.
So,
Correct.
Yeah,
you know, you're not extending it or anything.
yeah.
Okay, well, I have some thoughts about this. Beginning with the fact that this is an 1885 house, so it's one of the older properties in Glendale, and properties that were, homes that were built before automobiles typically did have driveways that circled the house because carriages needed a larger radius to turn. So I personally am disappointed to see this change because I believe that the driveway is original to the period of the house. And I'm also disappointed, but understand why the addition of a circular driveway in the front is attractive. It will mean that instead of seeing a green space, you will see cars and vans and things in the front of the house. So it is going to change the aspect of the property. The other thing is that our guidelines, I don't know if you're familiar with this guidelines booklet, but it does say that fences should be appropriate for the design and the period of significance for the property or the district. And it says, do not install chain link fencing. So I would not be, I understand, okay, there's chain link fence there already, but I personally don't feel like I want to expand on something that we don't want in the district. And it's certainly going to impact the property next door because of the long side property line. So
Well,
that's
that would-
just my
That's where the
opinion.
new metal fence would go. The long stretch of it is the metal fence.
On the side yard?
Yeah, on the far right, that's the long metal fence.
So the only
chain
new
link.
chain link
So-
fence is around the driveway?
Correct.
Between the garage and there?
Correct, exactly. Yeah, what's just circled right there. That's the chain. Chain link is
So-
on the left, and that's middle, like interior part of their yard, and then the metal is on the far right.
It's still visible.
Okay, that's a little better.
But it's still visible.
But
Yeah.
it's
Could
significantly
it
less,
not-
it's less chain link than they have now.
Is it less?
Well, they're adding chain link.
No.
No, go all the way up to the top. Scroll up, David. Everything in the back, behind the garage,
Yeah,
is chain link
and stays.
on 3 sides. No, it's going to,
Yeah, that's.
Oh, it
that
says to
will
remain.
stay.
Oh.
Yeah, that will stay. It'll be very.
So we're
Oh,
adding,
okay,
we're adding
sorry.
more chain link.
So
I
is the
see.
reason?
I thought we were taking that
Is
out.
the reason for the new chain link just for cost? Or what?
You know, they probably would be amenable to putting metal fence there. Because it's not
maintain
even
the
that
new
much
look.
length of
Match the new.
fence. Yeah, I mean, I think they were just thinking that's more utilitarian. It's in the interior part of their yard. It's really behind their house. They just
Can't
thought
really
like
see
just
it
no
from
one
sharing
would
it.
care.
Yeah, but to follow the guidelines. I mean,
Yeah,
should follow
I
that
think
as
we,
well.
I think we should. Now, I should also point out that there isn't anything in our zoning ordinance in terms of design requirements or even in the guidelines about driveways.
Mhm.
So that's just my personal opinion, but we don't have a legal leg to stand on there.
Yeah, and we've allowed circled driveways in other homes
Congress recently.
on Congress.
So,
Drive
So
through,
anyway.
so-
Oh, yeah, that's a,
I-
yeah, 4 houses. in-
Julie, I'd be willing to recommend approval of this at the design if they just change that small amount of chain link to metal fence. Would you think they'd be amenable to that?
I think they would be. Yeah.
Okay.
Motion, is there second to the motion?
I'll second.
Did you hear that, Becky? Is there anyone in the audience wishes to address this application? Further discussion?
had
Oh,
some,
Glenn Parrish, the notion that the circular, I like the circular driveway because it is on Sharon Road, which people don't always drive within the speed limit. It would lower the chance of accidents going actually in and out of that property. And I think that the changes the additions that they want to make are reasonable. They're not gonna tear down the house.
yeah, you could make that case.
Okay, that's all I want
all
to
right,
say.
Yeah.
thank you, sir. Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our next request. That is the request of Rob and Karen Weber, 40 West Fountain, for patio and terrace renovation. Mr. Weber,
Yes, thank you.
welcome back.
Thank you very much. This has been a long time coming, and I'm glad to be here. Let's see, because it's a what I'm looking for, asking for is the approval of a change of project that was approved 6 years ago. Yes, 6 years ago. So now 6 years ago, that was in the spring of 19. Karen and I had contracted for a backyard pool, okay, and so we were waiting for that because that was back when pools were crazy and all the construction was crazy, but so that was going to be starting in September. So about I don't know, May or June, we had an issue with the patio in the back, that it was because of the change of regulations for roof water runoff going down into the sewer system. It was originally piped into this sewer system, and then with the change of that regulation, then it ran across the patio, and of course then it froze and thawed, and so we thought, well, you know, maybe the best we can do is remove all of the existing surface and then resurface it. So that was our original plan. So as I was so I started to work on that, and it had several levels of concrete pour, and then it had all the concrete, the material that they pump under concrete to lift it up. And then, so I got all that removed, and then we got into a huge, very significant layer of just clay. And it was clay that you could jump on and you could bounce on it. So I dug that out. Well, I'm embarrassed to say that it looks like the original resurfacing. You know, there's a project creep going on, and this is kind of where I stopped. And then we had the pool, and then I suffered a stroke in fall in the like in August of that same year of 19, and so this took a back seat while we were finishing the pool, and then we took all the findings from the pool and the dirt from the pool and allowed for a leveling of the landscape behind the house, so that you can walk all the way around the house now. And maybe there's a picture of that, David. Right there, yeah. So, and then after we did that, then I thought, gosh, there's about 12,000 cars or 13,000 cars at that time. That was in 19 that go up Route 4. The other 12,000 go up and down Congress.
Yeah.
And it was always awkward walking out on that, unless it was totally tree covered, because you felt very exposed with all the traffic, and so when it became a walk around area, then we thought, well, maybe that might be really nice to have that a walk in and have steps up to the house. So so there's the door in the west side and the steps with a 6 steps and a landing, and which is I think about 6 feet. I can't read that there, but I think it's about 6 feet deep. And there are a few pictures of what we had someone. Let's see now. There we go. So now maybe in there's several that show that. Here we go. This is the top view. If you want to. Oh, there's a front view. Yeah, there we go.
So that's what you want it to look like.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Exactly. So. So the thought is use the cobblestones that we used in the front of the house. Those came out of Pete Rose Way down. Actually, it was 2nd Street at the time. And we want to use. We're going to maintain the concrete perimeter, original, and we want to put limestone on the cap of that, and then for the railing, we want to duplicate the same design that we have installed on the front stairs, and I think there might be a picture of that, David. There we go. Addison helped design that. There's rails on both sides, and we plan to use the same fabricator down in Woodlawn, who made those handrails. Anyway, that's kind of how things happen, and here we are, and so we can say, well, mainly it's time to get it done one way or the other. So
David,
and that's why we're
do we
here.
think about this as a brand new application? Because you have to execute applications within, isn't it, 1 year?
It is.
Building permits are valid for 6 months, and then you have 6 months to complete the work.
Okay.
I would say, given the original application is over 6 years old at this point,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
Yeah, we
be a new application.
and we do this. So this is the new application. The reason why I asked David to add the old one is just to let you know, we didn't forget about the old one.
Okay.
And,
Okay. I just want to make sure we're all clear on how this is being.
oh, okay. Well, it was just a matter of that's kind of the way it happened for those reasons, and here we are, and so we say, well,
Move ahead.
it's time to finish the west side of the property, the house. Go ahead. Yes.
So, question, Dave, could you go back 2 slides where it shows that one?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a very handsome and appropriate
Yes.
design.
Sure.
My only question was, is there a reason why the terrace doesn't extend to the second door on the right?
That's the way it was built. In other words,
It's the original wall.
those are the original walls, and
Okay.
that's the original stairway to the large solarium that's on the right.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I don't know why they didn't, but
Okay.
that's the way they built it. Yeah.
Well, if that's what you want.
The irony of this is that if you're on that patio as it was, before Rob dug it out, all the layers of cement,
Mm-hmm,
anyone could be on my patio looking right into my house,
mm-hmm.
those windows. Now those windows are set where if you were sitting in the patio,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite a distance.
Yeah, or
away.
standing. It's they're above. Yeah, that's true too.
It's very more private.
Mm-hmm.
It's deep.
It used to be, you'd be sitting on
I get
like
you.
a chair there, and you could just be waving to everybody.
They were above.
We
Yeah,
were
they were
like
above.
sitting
Yeah.
above.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense and it's well designed.
So a question I have then, since this is gonna be an occupied space, and it's on the side of the house there, could you go back to the photo of the, current railing?
Yes.
Have you given any thought to, you have a light fixture there.
Yes.
Any thought on a light fixture to the right of the door with the new steps, just so you
Yeah.
have some illumination to walk
Oh,
up those
yeah.
steps?
You know
And then
that-
if you're occupying that area, it's
Yes.
going to be dark.
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging plethora of lights, but I'm just saying that you
Yes.
might have a situation where you may want to consider something there.
And actually, there is a fixture there, and it looked just like the ones that are on the front.
Okay.
But when the original reconstruction, it disappeared. I think some boards might have fallen on it, and it disappeared.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been looking for another one like that, but we haven't found it yet. But
Oh.
yes, we definitely there is a working light,
Okay.
a light bulb. But yes,
Okay, another question. Is there any need for drainage so that you
Yeah.
don't have a repeat of that situation
Right.
with the
Yeah.
ice?
So what we're planning to do, and that's one of the jobs of the architect engineer,
Mhm.
Tonesmeyer, that we're going to be working with, is to develop the drainage that will take all that roof water
Mhm.
underneath and then out the south wall, so that it drains over that. So it drains off the edge, and maybe you could go
Kind of-
forward somewhere. I don't know. Here we go. So if right now we're looking on the left side of the house, the left indent, that's where the that terrace is. So we're gonna come through the concrete wall. There's one, there's two, there's four actual downspouts that drain into that area. And so we're gonna be taking it so it drains over this hillside.
Comes out of the incline, yeah.
Yeah, so that all that will come out. Yes. Yeah, that's.
Really is, you've
Yeah.
done a lot to improve the
Yeah.
property.
Tremendous.
One of the things I've been, back when we first bought the house, I thought, getting up is the whole key to keeping this thing in shape. Getting, actually accessing the height. So I always wanted to buy a man lift. And so when I bought the house, I borrowed extra money to buy one, but the slope on that western side was very significant. So I said, well, we need it to be.
Were you going up in there?
No, I
That was a joke. That was a joke.
Oh yeah, no. So finally, now that we have it all flat and get around it, now, so this last December, I tried one out, a 60-foot boom lift, and went around and caulked all of the, the cracks are that's the nemesis
Yeah.
of things, because once it cracks, and so we found, you can see on that left part, there's some waves, and as it turned out, we've had the house painted several times, but the drip line there, about 4 or 5 feet from the on the stucco from the top of it, you see there's
Yeah.
a window way up there. They never caulked that drip line.
Oh,
And so it wasn't dripping, it was going on the inside and the outside. So what we had repaired 12 years ago,
Needs it again.
it's coming back. So anyway, now we have a boom lift, and it's going to be a lot. I think it'll be we have the necessary equipment to really make sure that things are taken care of the way they deserve to be. So.
Two things. One, consider before they put the cap on for you, run
Yes.
some low voltage wiring underneath the cap, and you can put the little lights on the inside
Oh, that's nice.
that fit right underneath that cap. You'll
Uh-huh.
never see them, but you can have lights all the way around the perimeter, and it'll look very nice.
that's a nice idea.
Yeah, if that's what you like. You
Yeah,
may
no,
want
no,
something
yeah.
different, but
We like
but it's much easier to do that when before they put the cap on, if you want
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
And then with that, I will
gonna be
move
very
that we approve this as presented.
Okay, and then we'll be back after Tonesmeyer does his work and we get the plans and get the contractors, then we'll be able to submit a budget for it.
The
And
building
get-
per- for the
Get the
building
building permit, yeah.
All right. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second,
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address this application? Members of the commission, further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Just so you're aware, I do have to go upstairs for the tax budget. Becky and I have to go upstairs for the tax budget public hearing.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and just leave this application up on the screen. It should be, that's the only slide for the application.
All right, before you leave, David,
Yes.
the dimensions of this match the zoning requirements?
They do. The window area is 55 square feet and the sign area is 18. So a coverage of a little over 30.
So the only matter before us is the appropriateness of the sign?
Correct. And it is, follows zoning, it is applied to the inside of the glass.
Okay.
Bingo.
All right, well, let's move on then to the next and final application, which is the application of Arthur Baldwin for sign at 13 Village Square. Mr. Baldwin? Pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the village. We've all had a chance to review your application, so we know what you're proposing. You're free to tell us as much or as little as you'd like, and we'll take it from there.
Well, we just wanted to make sure that we were in compliance with what we were supposed to be, and when it was brought to our attention, we submitted the drawing, the application, and hopefully you guys welcome it and we can move forward.
All right, very good.
I said one question. Is that a backwards Y? It looks like a backwards Y 31.
It's actually a V.
Is it supposed to be a V?
It's a fancy V.
Have you considered maybe revising that? Because I don't know if it reads like a V. It's up to you. It's your sign.
It could be his logo.
It's a logo.
Is it a logo?
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, I thought it was a Y also.
So do you have anywhere on the glazing anywhere for hours or anything like that?
No, not as of yet. That's on our website,
Okay.
and so
Not
that's
really
where we
needed.
put it at.
Yeah.
No, I
And
was just
then
curious,
if
so
you put it on
sometimes they're
there-
considered coverage, that's why I was just asking. I
Yeah.
didn't want him to be
Yes.
dinged for
Oh,
that.
I
Right,
see.
no, sir. We wanted to limit
Okay.
that as much as possible there, to
All
stay
right.
within that square footage of coverage.
It's an attractive design and it meets the code, so I move approval.
A second?
Never mind.
All right,
Yeah,
motion and a
well,
second.
it's
Anyone in the
a-
audience
yeah.
wish to address this application?
I-
Further discussion?
You
Okay,
can-
I'm a little late after the motions have been, but I didn't know if you would, that's your logo, if you could get the V and the 31, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but,
Move the 31 up, the V down.
well, just, that's all, I'm just saying.
You don't
You
need
know
a
what I'm
beauty
saying.
salon?
Do what?
Don't.
What?
Need a beauty salon. You're so beautiful, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think you need to find it.
All right.
Now, I have a question. Should in the future we decide to revamp that in any way, shape, or form, as long as we keep it in that format and that size, do we come back again?
You know, technically, yes, any change to
All right.
the aesthetics would need appropriate
All right.
review. I would say though, if you're just moving the 31 up or
Yeah.
making a V and a
Right.
Y into a V,
Right.
Talk to David and.
Talk to David
yeah.
about it.
I will-
Okay, that's fine.
You've seen how reasonable we are, so just.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you, Jim.
And creative, obviously, up here.
All right. Well, we got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome to Glendale.
Yes, well, that's our event center right next door.
Oh, okay. Welcome back.
Oh,
All right.
So doubly welcome.
Well, that concludes our applications. Is there anyone else in the audience wishes to address the commission on any other matter? Mr. Parrish.
Thank you. I guess you know I'm a parish, so I won't even, I'm Glenn, the 12th child of
Okay.
17. So there's more coming. One of the things I wanted to ask is that I purchased the property at 100 Washington Avenue, which, as you know, is directly parallel to Washington Park. And one of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm not making any changes to the property. I am repairing some of the interior, not making any structural changes, just repairing old rusted pipes. They turned on my water and it flooded because I wasn't there. Okay. But that's all right. It's a concrete basement with drains. So that was just a minor thing. But it also has a porch in which we are currently, without any structural additions, we are placing some screening around it so that we can enjoy the porch instead of sitting out there and letting the bugs that are so numerous around here eat us up. And then just repairing the entrance to the basement, which was kind of sagging, but we did no structural repairs to it. And because I am a general contractor, and I work most of the time remotely, and my question is that I need to put equipment on that property in the rear, but I need to know what the parameters are to putting a container so that my equipment will not be seen. Yeah, I
You need to
know.
have- talk to Dave
I
at the village
understand, he
office.
left out
Not-
before I could
not
send
in
him
our purview.
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm talking about,
Yeah.
but I will bring that up again, and I will talk to him personally. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to maintain the historical nature of the property, but because 80% of the property is trees, which are going to be removed so that I can actually build on the property. But bringing equipment every day would not be feasible. So mine would be to put a container there and put all the equipment inside of it.
That's not us, but the screening in of the porch, you've already done that?
Yeah.
Is that a modification that which should come before us?
It depends,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but
Technically, yes.
that's
Yeah,
sort
that
of
should've-
any exterior
Should
changes.
have come to us.
I didn't notice the screened-in porch when I just left for the meeting.
When did you? You just went by
I live
there?
I live on Matthews Court. So
Oh, okay.
I drive down to the end.
See
and
there?
I also noticed, and I was going to bring it up and ask, on the bottom, which you can't see, but the porch has a stucco bottom. Sorry.
Yes, that
and
is.
it has you've now added lattice work on
Yes.
front of that, and that's definitely a modification. Taking away from that original stucco look, because the white lattice on there makes it look. It does. It makes it look different, completely different.
It
So I
is-
didn't know when those submissions should be done, because I didn't notice the screened in at all, screened in porch.
Right. The one thing that I have noticed throughout the village is that lattice, which is why I chose that, because to actually take down the plaster and the concrete that they have on there, it's breaking up. And so in order to make, to take away from to add to the aesthetic nature of it, and also be period, we utilize the lattice, which is used throughout the village.
These are the sort of things that need to come before us. So when you're talking to David about the container activities, perhaps you should fill out an application to come back to us next month for the screened-in porch. You know,
And the
for
lattice.
work
Yeah,
that
any
you've already-
exterior
that
change.
you've already done.
Yeah.
Just because I can look at the website. I'm on the auditor site, just looking at the basic details, and I could have sworn it was like 1920s or late 18s. I would say 20s, 1900s, just because it's resemblance of a small arts and crafts. And again, modifications for that would be submitted to be reviewed, just for, like you said, appropriateness. So
Yeah.
to where lattice is on some homes in the village, it may not be on others, just for that period of style, not for the arts and crafts,
And
but
typically,
depending.
on a stucco foundation, arts and crafts house, craftsman house, the lattice would be appropriate where you have a porch with an open space underneath. They would put that on to close that off.
Right.
Uh,
And actually,
that sort of thing.
there is that open, I put around it so I kind of have a door on there, and there is an open
Under the
space
porch.
underneath the porch.
See that around the
So
porch
that's why
is
I
appropriate.
decided to do that instead of, because that would mess with the foundation.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do anything that was going to take away from that,
Yeah.
or from the historical aesthetics.
Sure.
Okay?
Well, we'll see you next month.
So I'll
with that
have to,
application.
Yeah, David's kind of our gatekeeper. He's the first person to answer those kinds of questions, whether an appropriateness review is required, whether containers even allowed in the back there. whether a second construction is allowed in the back part of that property. I mean, there's rules about lot sizes and lot frontages that we won't even see, but that's, David, again, is the gatekeeper on those sorts of things.
My lot size is an acre.
That's probably big enough for that district, but,
Thank
but there's also requirements for lot frontage. You have to have a certain amount of frontage on the road to be able to create a new lot to build a new home. And that's, again, David has all that information. We really don't deal in lot sizes, lot configurations.
I'll bring that up in council, because what you're saying right there just does not seem reasonable.
I'm sorry?
It doesn't seem reasonable. The only frontage that I really need is on a 100 wash, the Hyatt house. If I build something behind there, all I'm gonna have is a driveway going back, which does not require frontage.
If it's attached.
It's not gonna be attached.
Or a detached garage.
It's not gonna be a detached garage
Gonna
either.
be a second home?
Well, then you don't
It
have
will
to
be
keep-
a second home.
Then the ordinance won't allow for that.
Yeah, will the front,
Why not?
the existing home be used as a living space?
It will be my remote office is what I'm using for right now. But it is set up so that that it is living space.
Okay, our ordinances permit one main building per lot, and a main building would be a space that is usable as a living space. So that would be kitchen, bathroom, bedroom facilities. So if you're looking to add a second main building to a lot or to a piece of property, it would need to be subdivided to create a second lot. And when they mention frontage on public
I do
street,
understand that.
which is Washington, you would need that minimum, and I believe it is 50 in the.
Yes.
You would need that minimum for both the existing property and then the new home that you would build would require that frontage on the public right of way.
That's my understanding until the planning commission said that the property right next to me, which is the exact same size as mine, the planning commission had already decided that they could put 7 homes on there.
That's
We didn't decide
not
that.
planning commission
Never said
and
that.
is not an active application, is
No,
not.
it isn't, but
But is not
if you
in
considered it,
any application like that would require zoning change and review, which would go through planning commission and council. Now, nothing like that has started that process. So if you're looking to do work on your property right now under the current zoning code, then you would need to conform with the current zoning code.
absolutely.
Now, that does not, we have folks that come into my office all the time with ideas that range from reasonable to harebrained, frankly, that are not compliant with the zoning code. The mere mention of those does not alleviate the requirement to conform. So your idea of, I want to put 2 main buildings on my lot is certainly an option in the realm of zoning changes. But under the current zoning code, without those changes, you wouldn't be able to do it. It wouldn't be able to be approved as complying with the village's zoning code.
Under the current,
Correct. It would require a change in the code, which would go through the planning commission and council.
somehow when the same people are making all of the rules and the same people are on the same committees and stuff, it seems counter to an open and fair analysis.
That's why the ordinance.
Any amendment to the zoning code, and planning commission and council are working their way through a couple right now. The guidelines change is being handled as one, and then the chicken ordinance is being handled as one. Those go through several public hearings. There's at least a 3-month process for public comment and public input on that. And then any changes are obviously reviewed and approved by both bodies. So there's an ample amount of public input and public observation of that process. So as those changes are made, the bodies have an opportunity to hear from the public and make adjustments and have, in the case of the chicken ordinance, I think, made more than a few changes to the proposed code.
Since I've been here, we've talked more about chickens than anything else.
Well, it is in the middle of their middle of the process, so that'll show up
I'm just
on it.
saying is that with a village which is looking to grow, I don't know how you're going to grow talking about chickens all the time.
Well,
But that being said, I digress. All I'm saying is that the reasonableness and the aesthetic nature of my property should allow for my plans. Okay, now when I bring them, I know that you have to vote on them, and that's reasonable. Okay, I'm not going against anything. What I want to do is I want to understand the rules before I bring something forth. So this right
I'd
here
suggest reading the
is
ordinances.
just a one. I'm filling it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you said that I have to bring to council the
Let's
the
don't go back down
container.
that road. I think what you need to do is familiarize yourself with the ordinances as they exist today and see
have.
what is available for your lot, and what you're discussing, putting a house behind the house, is not an option the way the ordinances are today. So, and then once you decide what does meet the ordinances, and then you bring it to David to look at the initial review of the plans that you bring to him, and then if it meets the ordinances, he'll present it to the planning commission.
Yeah, and even if
then
it-
we'll go forward from there.
And even if it doesn't meet the ordinances, start with me in my office, because then we can review those things and figure out where it might be able to meet the ordinances, what processes. We offer. There's a variance process in the code that allows changes for unique situations.
In
All
fact,
of those
I brought
things are in the
that to
code.
you regarding the survey of the properties, is that because I found some irregularities with property lines.
Well,
As
property
in-
lines, property lines have nothing to do with this commission.
No. What
survey.
happens is, yes, it does.
No.
This is why, and this is why. Because the property line that I have found, that is the property next to me that is owned by the village of Glendale, actually goes right upside 100 Washington. It actually hits my building, which has an addition on it that goes, an extension of it, which goes to the basement. That extension has been there forever and 2 days. The other thing is that the property line has been maintained in a certain way since the year 2000. Why do I know that? Because I work for FEMA, and we use a Google Pro in order to determine whether or not damage was caused by a specific storm.
And
And
Google
they
Pro,
have overhead, and they
Okay.
show
Yeah, I know, I
that
don't-
my property has been maintaining portions of what looks like to be the village owned.
sir, what, I still don't understand what that has to do with this commission. That's a private matter between two property owners, where the survey line
But
is.
you
where the-
are the property owner.
No. The planning commission owns no property. The village council, or the village does, and is represented by the council as far as the properties go, where the
Okay.
property line goes.
Well, one of the
We
reasons
can't
I
tell you
brought
where
it
that
up-
property line is, where it
I
should be,
understand.
who maintains it, who maintains on
I
one side or the
understand.
other.
And you know why I brought that up?
I don't
Because there
know.
are some people who look at this meeting who will not look at the next meeting. And I want to make sure that what I am talking about is viewed by everybody, whether they only look at this one or whether they only look at council meeting. I need to make sure that all these things are resolved before I even give you plans as to what I want to do with my property.
And we're telling you how to resolve that. Start with David, and if it's a matter of a property boundary, let me finish.
And again-
If it's a matter of a property boundary that could be resolved by a survey, that again begins with David, but would ultimately be resolved with the property owner, the village of Glendale, as represented by the
Actually, it's
village
already
council.
been done.
A survey?
Yeah.
Okay, well, bring it up to council and bring it up to David.
But
That's
I
not the business of this
requested
commission.
the survey, but I have yet to get one.
Well, then it's not
Well,
been done.
we had
No, it
discussed,
has been done.
Did you have a survey performed on your property?
No,
'Cause
I
last
don't
we
need a
spoke-
survey on my property. All I needed to know was where the village-owned property began and ended as it comes up to my property.
So, and we're working on securing a survey of the village's property. For your property though, it is always recommended, and I'm sure off the record that folks on the planning commission would agree that getting your own survey of your own property is always a recommended step to verify exactly where your property
Well,
lines are.
David, I already know that somebody's already placed a flag on my property near my fence that says survey number 1.
No, I
I
who
don't know
did
where,
that.
hey,
Yeah, I don't
I
know who
didn't
placed
put
that.
it there. I'm just, and really, I'm not here to, I'm here because I want to be in the village of Glendale until I die. Because I love the village of Glendale. It is my heart. Okay, so anything I do here, I want you to know I have the best interest in Glendale, not as just my property, but as a whole. I grew up in a village. I grew up in a village where everybody knew people. And it's still that way. And it could be even better. But there's something that's missing right now. Okay, in my opinion.
You know, just check the ordinances out.
Okay. And I will do that. I appreciate your comment.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Parrish.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Anyone else wish to address the commission? Members of the commission, any other business to bring before this body? Or is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is granted and we are adjourned.